Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the FB4 Daily for Friday the 12th of July. This one today, or this evening, is brought to you by Carlton. Carlton, some of you may know from Twitter, some of you may not. If you don't, get on there at Carlton81 or www.goldstar.co.uk. Carlton does brilliant artwork. If you go on there, you'll see everything he does. He's top notch. We will have a prize from Carlton next week to give away. But if you're ever stuck for any sort of Liverpool artwork that can be put in your living room, your hall, your stairs, up the stairs, in the kitchen, wherever you want, the offices, wherever you want, Carlton is your man to go to. His stuff is top notch. On tonight's show, I have with me the host of the Kop Table and good friend of mine, Peter Phillips. Peter, how are you?
Very good, thanks, Gav. How are yourself?
Yeah, not bad. Getting back into it now. We're doing this show for nearly 2 weeks now. It's going quite well. People seem to like it. We're getting loads of people throwing in loads of comments, which is always good. Good. Yeah, it's good. The football is back. That month or so that we had off seemed to go really fast. But no, it's really good. As you know, Peter, what's going to happen is we're gonna have a chat here. We'll get into a few different things as we go along. I'll get your opinion, I'll get mine, I'll get the people who are commenting in. They always throw loads of random stuff at me, and I'll get your opinion as we go along. But first things first, Peter, I'm going to ask you, and we spoke about this last night, but first outing of the pre-season last night away to Tranmere, a 6-0 win. Did you watch the game? What did you think of it?
Yeah, I did see the majority of the game. Yeah, it was a good start to the pre-season, wasn't it? With two different starting 11s in each half, and obviously in the first half, Brewster looked really sharp, didn't he? His first chance we've had to save him really since he signed. So playing first team football, that is, I thought he looked really good, and the lad Larouci at left back put in a solid performance. He was getting up and down the line well, and looks like he could be one who could push a claim for being the understudy to Andrew Robertson. But Lewis come on second half as well, and he didn't do himself any harm at all either. He played really well, and some of the other lads that played second half as well. Jones chipped in with a goal, didn't he? Bobby Duncan done really well as well. So yeah, I thought it was a good solid start to the pre-season, and obviously it's a chance to see these young lads at first hand, isn't it? And what the future of Liverpool is going to be looking like.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you on the Larouci show. I thought Lewis done really well to keep the pitch really wide, a bit like what Robertson does. I think Larouci was a little bit let down by Kent. I think Kent was playing his own game last night, whereas if he'd have been a bit more, he used it. If he watched what was going on around him a bit more, he would have been releasing Larouci, and that's actually better than trying to do it all on your own, because if Klopp sees that you understand how Liverpool play, especially the first team, there's more chance of getting in there. I thought Kent was a bit playing his own game last night and looking after himself rather than trying to fit into the way Liverpool play. But you're right, it's a good start to the pre-season. Would you agree there was plenty of standouts last night? Would you agree there was nobody there in the 22 or 23 that played that you thought, he wasn't up to it? They all looked okay for the first pre-season game.
Yeah, they all done well. Nobody had a poor game, if you like, and I think it's just it's about these lads taking their opportunity, isn't it? Throughout the season, obviously, when all the first team players come back, the chances are going to become less and less. So this is their chance now in pre-season to put themselves in front of Jurgen Klopp and say, look, I'm one that you can count on for the season. So there was obviously a few first team players around them as well. With I thought Joe Gomez done well as well in the first half. He came out and brought the ball out, probably 30-40 yard running before he laid it off for the pass decline for him to score. So yeah, but going back to the original point, this is the perfect opportunity now for the likes of Harry Wilson and Ryan Kent, Keanu Hoover, who also done very well in the second half. It's a chance now for all these young lads to say, look, I'm ready, and you can count on me for the coming season, if you like.
Yeah, absolutely. Just before we go on, anyone that's watching this on Twitter, Periscope, YouTube, if you're on YouTube, you're probably just watching. Make sure you subscribe. Anyone you know that you want to subscribe, go and do it. Tell them to subscribe. With regards to Twitter, just share the broadcast. Share it around. More Liverpool fans get to see it. They get to watch. We get more comments, and then you yourselves can grill me and Peter. Peter's taking half the blame tonight for the grilling that we're going to get. But just one player that's been mentioned there a couple of times. I think Kop Table was one of them that's mentioned, and he said Hoover was the star of the show for him last night. We had a big discussion on this on our WhatsApp group last night, Peter. This guy looks to me like a Rolls Royce, as they say, a Rolls Royce of a footballer at 17 years of age. Would you agree or disagree?
Yeah, most definitely. He looks like he's bulked up a little bit as well, doesn't he, during the summer months, and since he made his debut at Wolves back in January, he looked a lot slighter than it, and now he looks a lot more broad. He's put on a little bit of weight, and he looked very, very solid. And going forward, his touch, his passing, just everything about him, he seemed to do with ease. So yeah, just I know a little bit about the background of Hoover as well. I know the club looked at him for it was gone 18 months to 2 years. The scouts were back and forward looking at him, so he was one that's been on the radar for a long time, and I know that they was really, really interested in. And once they got him over the line, he was one of the standout performers since he came into the academy. He went straight from the 18s up to the 23s, and then within no time he was training with the first team squad. So I think his talent is there. It's obvious for everyone to see, and the lad's got a really, really bright future ahead of him.
Yeah, just on a couple of people I mentioned there, Sepp van der Berg, and what's going on there with him not being able to play last night, and he's not able to play on Sunday. I think the transfer might have only officially went through over the last day or two, and registration and stuff like that, so he will be available for America if once anyone's asking. Andy Young, a good friend Andy Young, is asking me to get on with it and give us a song. No, that won't be happening, Andy. The reason I'm laughing is I've listened to your last 5 voicemails on WhatsApp, and they cracked me up, and that's as far as I'm going with that. But just the main focus on this, Peter, for this show, and it will be until the transfer window closes, is names coming in, names going out, different things like that. I think it's Daniel there says Pepe or Dembele or Fekir. Who's it going to be? There's plenty of names being linked. For you though, putting all this aside, if we were to sign one player realistically for you, Pierre, first of all, I suppose, do you think we'll make signings? And secondly, if you were and you were to pick one, who would it be for you?
Well, yeah, to start off with the original point is, do I think that we'll make signings? I think it's pretty much a must. We must make signings, because 1 or 2 injuries and the squad's not looking as strong as it would be with, like it did towards the end of the season, if you like, when we had a fully fit squad. So I think it's vitally important that we don't stand still this summer. Other teams are going to be making signings, and I know we have got a very, very strong squad, world-class players all over the pitch, but I just think we still do need that 1 or 2 extra bodies, 1 or 2 extra players that can come in and cover, if you like, and start games when other players need the rest. So I think you're looking at somebody across the front three, aren't you? I think Klopp and Michael Edwards would be looking at somebody who can play across all 3 of them positions, really. So you're going to need somebody who's versatile, who's fast, quick, and knows where the goal is as well. So to improve on what we have is going to be very, very difficult, but I'm sure that them 2 are out there, and all the scouts and the transfer committee have got players who they like and could come into that and fit into that project, if you like. And also a left back is another one with Alberto Moreno not leaving the club in the summer. We talked about Larouci and Adam Lewis as possible backups, but obviously they're very, very young and not much experience. So if Andy Robertson was to get an injury, you're looking at Milner then, aren't you? Joe Gomez, which is taking players away from other positions in the squad. So I think it's vitally important that we do get 1 or 2 in. I think with Barcelona now signing Griezmann, Dembele is possibly one who could be on the market, and it's been said by Jurgen Klopp, hasn't it, before in one or two press conferences when it was mentioned his name. He actually he said, didn't he? Oh no, yes, I'm interested. So Dembele is a name that's been linked with us in the past, and he's one that fits the bill for the front three positions. But are Liverpool in the market to pay? What is he going to cost? 80 to 100 million pound for a player who's possibly going to be in and out of the team? I think you're probably going to be more looking at somebody around the 20, 30 million pound mark. Someone maybe from the French league. They've been linked with a few players, haven't they? I know they've been linked with Maxwell Cornet, the Lyon striker, and a few others. So yeah, I think there's players out there, and it's one of them. We just have to wait and see what the boys come up with.
Yeah, like I'm glad you mentioned a couple of players there because they're ones I want to get into. Harvey Elliott is one that's been linked with from Fulham. He was spotted at the game last night. I think it's one of those where it looks like Liverpool will sign him. Someone makes a point there: can he sign a professional contract at 16 years of age? I'm sure he can. Maybe there's something in that. I'm sure he can. There's talk of that happening. The Coutinho stuff won't go away, Peter. For me, I put it on Twitter today, and it was me from the Trippers account that put it out, saying I had a little theory I had was that Griezmann moves. Neymar needs to come in for Barcelona if they really want to do that. I see Coutinho going to Paris Saint-Germain, and I think Dembele is the odd man out. And I think it could be a case of Dembele being our main target if he ever comes available, and Pepe probably being a backup. That was just something that popped into my head today because we've discussed Pepe a hell of a lot on this show over the last week and a half since we started. But it could be a case of Liverpool just keeping their powder dry and seeing what happens at the likes of Barcelona, because we have said for the last week and a half that it's going to take one or possibly two big transfers for this whole window to be blown open, and it could be Barcelona that blow it open on their own with what they try and do. Kev O'Sullivan says he saw on Sky it's going to be a tribunal with Fulham for the fee. Yeah, that's fairly standard practice, I think. Daniel says a professional contract can be signed only at 17. That's another point. It could be something. There could be a little, not an issue there, but if you have a 16-year-old and you want to bring him in, he can sign that contract, but they'll still want a tribunal. So it's stuff like that might come about. Just on Coutinho though, this link won't go away now. There's a big row going on between Barcelona and Atletico Madrid now because Atletico were saying that no, you should have paid 200 million euros. That was the buyout. It's not the 108 or 120 million it is now. Barcelona look like they might have pulled a stroke here, but surely, Peter, if they bring in Griezmann and they do go and try sign Neymar, actually, do you know what? Forget Neymar for a minute. They brought in Griezmann. For you, is Coutinho or Dembele? Would they probably have to go?
Possibly, yeah. I think that Philip Coutinho, he's the one who's going to have his nose pushed out first and foremost, isn't he? With Griezmann, there's been talk, isn't it, that he's took the number 7 jersey, which Coutinho wears. So obviously, straight away there's an issue, isn't there, between Coutinho and the club. Dembele is another one who could get his nose pushed out. So, in my opinion about Coutinho coming back, my own personal opinion is I'd take him back personally in a heartbeat. Everyone deserves a second chance for me. Obviously, the way he left the club was not didn't cover himself in any glory whatsoever, didn't he? By he's saying he had a back injury and basically dug his heels in to get the move, didn't he? But obviously it's not turned out very well for him out in Barcelona. He's been getting booed by the fans over there. He was warned by Jurgen Klopp, wasn't he, that if he goes to Barcelona, he's just another player in the team, whereas he stays at Liverpool and there's possibilities they'll be able to sack him in the future because he was that much loved by the fans. So my own personal opinion is he's a fantastic player. He's world class. He's something that any team in the world would benefit from. So it's whether Jurgen Klopp sees it the same way. He might think now that he doesn't want a player who's done that to him in the past, who's caused trouble to get himself a move away from the club, or he could turn around and say, look, we'll have a chat with him and see if he's prepared to give him a second chance. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Barcelona and the like you say, the domino effect of the Griezmann going and the possibility of Neymar going. This, like you say, this could like kick off the transfer window over the next few days and few weeks, if you like.
Yeah, and Barry Carr makes a good point there. He says that Coutinho, in his opinion, is off out of Barcelona, and we could do it for the least amount of money. It's a fair point because they would genuinely still owe us a lot of money.
Yeah.
From the contract, from the deal we done with them, 18 months ago. 18 months ago, yeah, 18 months ago. So it's one of those where if we were in a position that we wanted them back, and I spoke about this yesterday, it would all be down to Klopp and probably senior players were in the squad being consulted on this. But it could be one where we could do it for the least amount of money because of what we're owed. But I think, genuinely, I think Dembele is the one, Peter. Just looking at the way it's gonna go, I think PSG would like Coutinho. They like a Brazilian flair player, you know, the kind of way. I think that could be the deal that sends him to Barcelona with Neymar coming in the opposite direction. And I think Dembele is left at the odd man out. It's fairly well documented Dembele had problems at Barcelona. He was late for training. He was, you know, there was a few issues there. And might worry Liverpool fans if Klopp was to go and get him. But you mentioned earlier, Klopp liked him when he was at, was it Lille he was at?
I think it was Rennes.
Rennes. He's there and he goes.
Yeah.
They wanted him then. He goes to Borussia Dortmund. When it looks like he's leaving Borussia Dortmund, Klopp makes them comments that he's a massive fan of him. And now I think if Klopp could be happy with the squad he has, but I think if this pops up and this becomes available, I think Klopp goes back to the FSG or Michael Edwards and says, listen, I've always wanted this guy. He's available. I know what he can do, and I know what I could do with him. I think this one that could really happen. Do you think am I running away with myself here, or do you think it could be a situation where Klopp is waiting, really waiting to see what's going on with him?
Yeah, I think it's pretty much a case with the transfer situation at the moment. I think Liverpool, they're ready and waiting, and they're waiting to see if anything comes up. They're ready to react at any given time, if you like. I think it's been well documented by all the local journalists like James Pearce, Paul Joyce, David Maddox. They've all turned around and said, haven't they, that Liverpool aren't necessarily in they're not in the transfer market for a massive window. You're not going to see the likes of over £100 million spent like the previous summer and January on Van Dijk. I think it's going to be a lot more conservative this summer. But if anything does come up, they're ready to react. And I think that, yeah, like you say, they're keeping the powder dry. But if anything comes up for their liking, like you say, like a Dembele or someone like that, then they're ready to move at any given time, really.
Yeah, I think, you see, that's my thing on it. I think whereas Liverpool, gone back a couple of years ago, would be quite hesitant in the market, and they would nearly be 2 steps behind other clubs. They know they have the money, they have the contacts, they have the groundwork's probably being in place, you know, especially from Klopp personally towards Dembele over the last couple of years and the comments he's made. I think this is one they could act on fast. It was Chris says there he can't see PSG accepting Coutinho plus cash. Barca would need more money. Yeah, they probably would, but you see, if they get Dembele out the door for a decent price, they can put that towards wherever else they have, and they could probably do something. I think if Barcelona wanted it to happen, I think it would happen, especially with Neymar, because Barcelona look like they're trying to do a massive change in what they're trying to do, and they're probably trying to future-proof a little bit for Messi when he does eventually, you know. Well, he doesn't look like going, you know, he seems to be at a peak and he stays there, but they're probably trying to future-proof for that. Kev O'Sullivan says Dembele he forced his way out of Dortmund, lazy at Barcelona, he's a bag of trouble. Yeah, that's probably the one big issue that comes up, Kev, that's being honest with you. You know, but I think, as I said, if Klopp really wants this player and feels he can do something, I think he would. Chris asks, Peter, what's your thoughts on Bruno Fernandes? I presume as a player or as a possible signing. I'll leave it open to whatever way you want to talk about that. But Bruno Fernandes, Peter, what's your feelings?
Yeah, just before I go, Bruno Fernandes, there's what's been reported in the likes of the Liverpool Echo and other newspapers is that the Liverpool transfer committee, have been working 2 windows ahead. So basically, what we're doing now, we're getting the players that was looked at the previous summer, and we're looking at players now for next summer. So this transfer committee and the people involved are that far advanced that they know exactly what they want and which positions, and the stats for players will add up into their profile. And if that player comes available, it might not be a player who you've never heard of. It could be someone who's completely off the radar. You just don't know who Liverpool are chasing at the moment, and that could happen at any given time. But as to Chris's question about Bruno Fernandes, I think he's a player who's highly rated, isn't he, in Portugal? I think he got a fantastic amount of assists and goals. I think he was captain of Sporting Lisbon as well. Also, he's a player that's being mooted with transfers to Liverpool, Tottenham, and Manchester United, amongst other clubs. But to be honest, I've not seen a great deal of him. I've obviously watched the little clips of him on the YouTube scouting videos and things like that. So from what I can see, he looks like a very gifted footballer, can hit a ball from long range. Takes a great free kick, and someone who can open up defences, and somebody who probably does fit the profile of what Liverpool are looking for from a midfielder. It's just, does Klopp see the need for that sort of player to come in when he's got the likes of Keita, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, Gini Wijnaldum, Jordan Henderson, Fabinho, all for these midfield positions? Does he feel the need for another one? In my opinion, there's enough room for another midfielder in there, because Keita struggled with injury, hasn't he? Lallana struggled with injury. Henderson now and again, he can't play 2 games in a week apparently, can he, due to his foot injury, so struggles at times. So in my opinion, there's room for another footballer, another midfielder, should I say. And Bruno Fernandes is one that I think that if he was available at the right price, then certainly Liverpool would be have one eye on the situation and ready to react, like we say, at any time. Should the need for somebody like him come available, then yeah, they're ready to go.
Yeah, there's loads of names being thrown in here. Depay, Ericsson, David Neres. Keegan says he thinks Neves from Wolves would be a great addition. Maverick says we're taking the transfer committee strategy too literally. They're flexible if circumstances change. No, that's exactly what we mean. They would have plans in place, and like Peter says, they're probably working a year, 18 months in advance, because this is the groundwork that's put in. But like you said, Maverick, they are flexible, and if something comes up like a Dembele, they will absolutely go for it. Barry Carr, I could not agree with you more. He says, Son from Sports, I would absolutely go and on with about 4 days left in the window and throw a massive bid in for him. And listen, if you get him, bonus, but if you don't, let's rock a big boat and rock it as much as we possibly can. That's what the likes of United's done over the years, Chelsea's have done, Arsenal's at certain stages, City definitely. Yeah, I would absolutely be all over that, Barry. It's probably the comment I agree with most since I've started this show. That is the one I would absolutely do. Paul Tabley says that Zoya,
and it's something where Liverpool are probably in a position now to do that, the way that the squad's being built, and coming off the back of a Champions League victory, second in the league, 97 points, ready to move on to the next level once again. I think the Liverpool's stature, if you like, is one of the highest points in world football. So for us to go in and try and get somebody like a Son out of Tottenham, and we're in an ideal position to try that, if you like. So there's no harm in trying, and he's a player who I think as well would do fantastic at Liverpool.
I'd be all over it. Like Barry said that, and I read the comment and I just couldn't wait to agree with him. Chris says that LFC have been scouting Fernandes for 2 seasons. Yeah, Chris, I'd say and they'd be scouting a hell of a lot more than that. Paul Tabley says Ziyech would be a super addition. Ziyech is a strange one. There's a buyout clause there apparently around £25 million, and nobody's taking it up yet. It's small money for Premier League clubs, and most Premier League clubs. It's surprising that nobody's gone in and done anything with Ziyech. But Firmino, as God says, we aren't signing anyone. Let's be honest. I tried to get an answer of Peter at the start of this, and he gave me a load of names. I'll ask him again before the end. I want a number off him, how many we think we will sign, and we don't include the likes of Harvey Elliott and Sepp van der Berg. Some will cost at least 70 million, which we don't have, or we do have. If that come up, and I think let's be honest, if Dembele come up at 70, we'd have it. So I think we'd have Son for 70. I just don't think Daniel Levy would play ball. He likes to save face a hell of a lot, and I don't think it'll work. Let me see. I do not. One reason we should sign someone top class is because our stature is so high, says Damo. Yeah, absolutely. That's like me and Peter have said there. We're so on a high, and you know our value to players at the moment is so high. You know, it's the time, and I always said it, from a position of strength you strengthen, and right now you strengthen from that position. And if you need to bully a club, go and bully them. You know, this is what all the top clubs do. They bully. You know, no, I'm not saying go down the way Barcelona do it and you say, oh, go injured and stuff like that. I'm talking about putting a big load of money on the table and going, can you like refuse this? Most clubs can't. It's really like that. But Peter, we'll finish up in a minute. The comments have been flying in here, which is great to see. So Peter, I'm going to ask you again. I want an answer this time because I won't let you away with it. I'll hunch it on Twitter if I have to. You know the way I am. Just give me a number. Signings between now and before we play Norwich. How many do you think?
Obviously taking into account the lad from Fulham, Harvey Elliott, he's obviously going to be coming in, whether it's for the under-23s or for the first team squad. Well, that remains to be seen. But adding him into the equation, I think they will bring in another 2 after him. So I'll say there'll be 3 players signed before the Norwich game. In my opinion, I think it's far too important for us now to stand still in this transfer window. And if we're just going to go with the front 3 with Origi and young Brewster as the backups, I don't think Klopp really wants to play with fire that much. 1 or 2 injuries, suspensions here and there could see us struggling in them forward positions like we did last season when I think Gini Wijnaldum played up front in 1 game, didn't he? And Keita had a little spell up there. I think he's going to want that much more covered this season. He's going to want someone who's a natural in them positions, someone who can fill in without the need to be told tactics and things like that. And they're going to know the job before they even go into that role. So yeah, I'm going to say Harvey Elliott plus another 2 players, in my opinion, will probably come in. Yeah,
it's a very that's a very popular answer. A lot of people have said too. Bar Firmino is God on Twitter, who says 0. I know what he's doing there. He's setting his sights really low, and if anything happens, it's a bonus. I completely understand what you're doing there, and listen, you're more than within your rights to do so. Keegan says he doesn't see anyone signing that walks into the start 11. It's about squad depth. Now I get what you're saying, but if you go and get someone and they train well enough, they play well enough, and they're entitled, and they should be in the starting 11, whether it be ahead of anyone, so be it. That's the way I look at it. Prep the Sun conversation for the Fatback 4 Gab. Listen, Barry, if I let Grizz and Matt go off on the signing of Son, Grizz will tell me that he's been doing the deal for Liverpool with regards to Son, and Matt will just tell you that the deal is done, full stop, because Matt's completely fucking off his rocker. But yeah, no, look, we'll have to see. Last thing, Peter, I'm going to ask you, Brewster was probably the major standout there last night because of the 2 goals he got. I thought he was really good on the ball. He held it well. He distributed it well. He gets the 2 goals. He looks like he's going to get game time this season. Give me a number. Goals this season. All competitions. Just give me a guess.
Ian Brewster.
Yeah.
Well, you're probably going to see him. I think they're probably looking at a minimum of between 15 and 20 appearances in the Premier League, whether that's after substitute bench and maybe starting games later as the season progresses. And you talk, if we get a run in the League Cup and the FA Cup plus possible Champions League appearances, I think they're probably going to be looking at between 25 to 30 appearances. Maybe at 30 is probably a little bit too much. Around 25 appearances. So it's games to goal ratio for the academy sides and for his international teams, 18s and 19s, whoever he's played for, is pretty good. He's like a 1 and 2, 1 and 3 striker. So I'll go for the eight goals in all competitions for Ryan Brewster next season.
Okay, Kev O'Sullivan says hope he makes 20 appearances and 8 goals. Somebody says 12 goals. Brewster will play in the cup games. I absolutely agree with you, Chris. But I think
I can't see the comments, by the way, so I wasn't copying.
Yeah, no. They were actually typing this as you were talking, so it was all right. I'm gonna say he gets. Do you know what? I'm gonna agree with this lad here, and I'm gonna say 12 goals in all competitions. I think he will get chances. I think especially if we're controlling games and he gets to come on for 20 to give lads a rest, and he's fresh and he's hungry. I think he can bag a few. So I'm going to go with 12. So if anyone watching or listening,
I hope he gets double figures. Yeah, it'd be great for him to get in double figures this season.
Barry Carr says Brewster gets 23. If Brewster gets 23 goals, Barry, Dembele can stay in Barcelona. We don't need him. That's being honest. But look, that's been the Fatback 4 Daily. That's been us for Friday night. We will be back tomorrow night. I have another guest coming on. I'll confirm that tomorrow with you. But it's good to have a guest on. You know, you bounce opinions off each other, and you know, all these comments coming in, you're getting. There's more and more opinion. That's all we want. More and more opinion. Some arguments, some agreements. We don't mind. Throw abuse in there. We don't really care. You can do what you like. That's how we run things. But look, that's been us. That's been the Fatback 4. Thanks a million to Carlton81 on Twitter, who brought the show to you today. www.goldstar.co.uk if you need to see any of his stuff. He's absolutely top notch, really is. You'll see next week when I show you a few bits that he's done, and he puts a prize up for somebody to win. He's absolutely spot on. Yeah, that's been us. Peter, thanks a million for joining me, and I'm sure I'll get you on in the next week or so again.
Yeah, pleasure. Thanks very much, Gav. Cheers.
Yeah, no problem. We'll talk to you soon. That's been us. Talk to you later. Over now.